Hey guys, welcome back to Harmon Homestead. Today I wanted to show you the stackable Dollar Tree planters. I saw these on Facebook and I said I have got to have these. We have 3 in-ground gardens, but we still do not have space enough to plant all that we want to plant. So I saw the stackable planters and I said, let me try this out. Everybody said they're going to try herbs, strawberries. I said, what about lettuce? What about kale, the smaller varieties? So I ordered some and I think they come 36 to a case. And look at that. They just stack up. The only problem I had is in shipping, a few of mine had the edges busted. That it doesn't bother me. We're here for we want the pot planter. We don't want the looks that much. But they just stack up. And it is the most wonderful thing. They're about 5 inches deep and I think 12 or 13 inches across. There's a center space here that will allow roots to grow. There's drainage holes in each one. You can see it in the video. And they just have these little grooves on the bottom, you can see there, and they fit just like so. They come in terracotta, navy, and tan. I really like the tan, but I got what was available because so many people have ordered these. And we definitely want to try the herbs with these. Lettuce, we've already planted 1 stack with strawberries. It's just an experiment. We'll see how it does. I don't make mine too high. I think 10 high. 10 of these stacked up would be as high as I want them. That's about 4 foot. That's as much as I'm comfortable with without wind blowing it over. They are flimsy without dirt in them. They're very flimsy. But once you put your dirt and your plants in these, and especially when the soil or potting mix, whatever you're using, is wet and saturated, it puts a lot of weight on these and stabilizes these so they won't flop over. Hopefully, they've lasted 1 good rainstorm here, and it blew over some of the folding chairs we have out here on the patio. So if it could withstand that, I think we're okay. I don't think it would withstand a hurricane, but it's pretty stable. For the money, it was worth it to me. They come in a case, a big one, you can see, and they're just stacked up like that. So to collapse these, just take it off. I love it because there's nothing really there. You just take it down, and that's it. That is it. Put them back up. It's just this way. It's just topsy-turvy. I love how your bottom 2, this one won't water anything up under it, of course, because you have the ground. But when you water the top, each bucket feeds to the next. So when you water the very top, the water comes down like a waterfall. You really only need to water from the top. I have, with my strawberries, I went ahead and just added a little extra water, especially the first watering I did, just to make sure everything got soaked. But with the drainage holes, so much water comes through, it allows the underside to get watered. And I think that's great, so you don't have to stand there and water each tier. So anything for quickness and convenience is welcomed around here. So I'm going to plant one and show you how it's done. When you get these, I was in a panic. I thought, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to drill holes, drainage holes in the bottom of each one. There is actually a cup that fits on the bottom. They do not twist off. You have to manually remove these, pop them off, and you just put your nail up under there and pull. And you can see the drainage holes are fairly good size. If you had fine dirt, you need to put gravel or something in the bottom to keep the dirt from washing away potting mix. I've not had any out of my other container leak through. So that's that. You just pull off your tag. That's it. This is an experiment. We'll see how it does. And we hope that it'll do well. So, because it will be beautiful if we can just get anything growing in these. It really will be pretty, especially in front of the back door, the front door stacked up, or you can do different heights, maybe 4 high and then 10 high and 6 high, you know, all different staggered heights. I think it would be really pretty with some green leafy things coming out of it. So I think that would be really good. So I've got some that I've started on. I want to show you here just to get it started. Lettuce transplants. I had to buy some today. I've got a few transplants inside that I've been growing. Lettuce is just something I do not do well. I cannot grow well myself here. I don't know what the problem is. I've grown everything from an eggplant to cabbage, and everything is great except the lettuce. The lettuce is so spindly. I only had a few lettuces come up, and once they come up they get so leggy, and no matter how much light I put on them, I've got grow lights, they're on heat, with heat inside, without heat, it doesn't matter. I just have trouble growing lettuce. So I actually had to buy some transplants to supplement my little transplants that I've grown inside. Mine may not even make it out here tonight. I don't know. It's supposed to get cool, so we'll see. I've got ways to protect these from the frost. I think we're supposed to have some frost this weekend. I know before Easter every year here in central Alabama, it's going to get cold. It just always does. They tell you can plant stuff in March, whatever. Don't, like corn, don't do it. Don't do it until after Easter. That is a good lesson to learn. We really didn't struggle with that last year, but what we did struggle with was we did not fertilize anything we planted. We mix it up hot. We mix it up pretty hot now. We have learned you must have fertilizer for anything to grow. So mix that up really well. I'm using potting mix here. I would use some garden soil if you had some, just to make your potting mix go further. Today I picked up the wrong bag at my local store, so I've got more potting mix, but it'll be okay. I know it does well. All right, there are indentions on each of these stacks. Right, I don't know if you can see that in the video. You might can. I'm coming to wear sunglasses. I'd put my soil to about there and see how that did. I think it'll be okay. You may have to add a little bit, take away some. We got red romaine. I bought 1 oak leaf lettuce. We've got plain romaine lettuce, and then red leaf lettuce, red sales red leaf lettuce. And I have butter crunch lettuce that did fare okay inside, and tango leaf lettuce. That's similar to the oak leaf. So I just think all the different lettuce varieties in the stackable planter will be just beautiful. So let's see here. I want different lettuces on each tier, just for the aesthetic reasons. I used to buy flowers put in front of the door, and I thought they were so pretty, and I just love planting flowers. And now I'm actually finding ways to decorate with food, with the edible plants we're growing. And I think that's even more special, because it's serving a purpose. It's more than just to look at. So okay, this is our red sales. Isn't that pretty? It looks a lot like butter crunch. So just make you a hole. You don't want to get down to the air holes in the bottom, the drainage holes. You don't want roots exposed. That much I do know. And y'all, I am not the master gardener. I'm just pretty much showing you how these stackable containers work, because everybody has commented on these and said how wonderful they are, and they can't wait to try it. And I got on the bandwagon too, and I'm pretty much sold so far. Okay. Keep in mind, when you plant, you want your plant kind of towards the edge over here, because this will be covered. This center is covered. I'm just going to add a little bit more dirt. Never plant a plant with the mix from the store, the dirt that it came with, exposed. I always like to put my dirt on top of whatever it came with. I have read that, and everyone says that can be detrimental to your plant. Plant it real good, pack it in, not too tight, make a good firm pack around your entire plant. And mind you, it will get watered from on top. Some of this will have to, once it gets stacked, it's still got room there, but it may have to come out a little bit. That's fine. It should gravitate that way, as long as the main concern I have is the back side of these. Like if this side is facing a wall, like the brick wall to my house, the exterior, it will not get sun as much versus these two out front, these two pods. So what I've been doing with my strawberries is just rotating them like that. Y'all, it's lightweight. It's not too heavy to pull or push. It's not like once it's done, it's there. Not if you do it a reasonable height. Like I said, mine are about 4 foot tall. So I cannot wait to try herbs in this. The herbs that I've started, and I start all of my seedlings indoors. Well, I take that back, most of it. Corn, okra, all of that, no, we'll plant outside, direct sow. But this year I really did try to plant things indoors because they say it saves you money. That's not true. I don't think that's true. Not when you have a seed buying addiction. So it might save you money if you you know, buy one variety of each, one pack. So if you do it the right way, it probably will save you money, but it did not save me money this year. But I have enjoyed it. I got to try several different varieties that I can't find at big box stores. One variety that I got was called Ping Tung Long Eggplant, and it's long, slender, lavender eggplants. I don't know if you know the variety I'm talking about or not. Usually you can only find like Black Beauty, a classic, typical eggplant. But if you read on the eggplants and the descriptions, some may be more suited to your area than others. Some may do better in your area. You have to look at all the reviews online and see what's best suited for your area. We got into that, and that's one reason that I really wanted to start the best varieties for this zone and this region. Not only zone, but this specific area, the dirt, the soil, everything. I wanted to start my own varieties inside, and I had to buy those online. A good example is everybody that I've ever heard of around here plants rattlesnake beans, pole beans in the spring. Well, we did last year. They did excellent. They puttered out. They puttered out completely by the 4th of July. We fertilized those. That was actually one thing we did fertilize. We did everything right. I think the heat just got to them. But in the fall, which I really can't complain about the rattlesnake beans because they produced more than anything we had last year, and they were delicious. So we probably will plant those again this year. But in the fall, I got into the container gardening. I said, well, let me try this. So I found some yellow wax bush beans, yellow bush beans at a local store. I said, I'm gonna try these in these buckets I've been growing things in. Y'all, 5 little plants produce more than we could eat. They produced great. And it could have been the weather. It could have been, I know it wasn't the soil. We used the same soil. I don't know what it was, but I said this year, hey, I'm going to try those again. It could have been because we started those in the fall. I'm not sure, but whatever it was, they did excellent. So try different varieties. If something is great and works for you, that's fine and dandy, but if you've got wiggle room, try something else, because you never know. You never know. I never would have thought this bean that I didn't even know about would have produced that well for this region. Or at least for me. Now this year it may not produce worth a flip, who knows, but we're gonna try it and see. It can't hurt. That's the whole thing about gardening that makes it fun, is you get to experiment. You are the master scientist. You get to play around with all of this, and choose what you want to grow and see what you want to have, and it makes it really fun. Really, really fun. You learn some hard lessons. Some things just will not do well. No matter, some things, like right now I'm planting some little seedlings that probably should wait a couple weeks, but I've got to get them outside. and we'll just see. I did that last fall with cabbage and collards. I swore that those would not produce. I planted them. They had like 2 leaves on them. I planted them outside. The frost was coming. I just said, I'm just going to try it. I got to get these out of the house. I'm tired of fooling with it. And I had, you know, the holidays were coming and Halloween and Christmas. I said, I've got to get these outside. So in September, I went ahead and planted them. They did better than the ones that I grew up bigger and planted in the same soil and babied. And those I just left, the little 2-leaf seedling. I just left. I said, I know these aren't going to make it. I don't even know why I planted these. And sure enough, they came up and they did great. And in fact, I just pulled up collards last weekend that were still going. And just because frost gets something does not mean that it is done. I can testify to that. Some plants it may, but don't give up on everything, because the collards looked dead around Christmas. I mean, the frost had gotten them. Well, sure enough, a couple weeks ago, they started putting back out. And I guess the weather, since it's warming up and the daylight, everything has, you know, been getting ready for spring. They come back up. I thought the whole plant was dead, done, forgotten, whatever. It came back, and I actually ate one picking off the collards, and it was still great. I mean, I couldn't tell any difference. So don't completely give up on something just because of frost. Some things. And I had broccoli that was killed by it, and it was done. It was done, gone, and over with. So you just never know. Everything's kind of a experiment. I have a feeling whatever we did last year, we'll probably fertilize everything this year and do it by the book and do it right, and probably, you know, may not even have what we had last year. So who knows? It changes every time you do this. So like I said, it's just one big experiment. So that's why I'm experimenting with some of my little seedlings and some of the ones that are grown on up. So let me show you. There's one. You see how easy that was to plant? There's nothing to it. So now, and isn't it pretty? We're just gonna stack it on top of some that I've got done. I've got one little container to make. That's the oak leaf lettuce. I've got the red romaine. It looked a little rough. I've got one little kale seedling. We'll see how the kale does. I would love to grow kale in these. The kale that I pulled up, in fact, I just pulled that up a couple weeks ago. The roots were not that deep in my container, so we'll see how it does. And I had continuous pickings off of them. So we'll see how my little kale does. He's mighty little, but we'll see. So hopefully, like I said, we can grow the kale. The kale is more durable. To me, it's easier to grow. I'm sold on the kale around here. If you like the taste of kale, my husband detests it. He said it's horrible. I think it's the texture. Now, I grew red Russian. Red Russian, if you live in central Alabama, is your kale. I tried every kale variety last year because I love kale. The Premier probably tasted the best for a non-kale lover, but the Premier did not do that well. I bought some kind of seeds for scarlet kale that was supposedly rare. It just wasn't. It didn't do that well. Blue curl Scotch, really. Everybody rants and raves on that. I bought it because I said, well, I'll try it from seeds. Seeds came up, did okay. The plants did not do that well, and that's the one my husband said, I can't eat this. It's just I can't take the texture. So he liked the Premier kale the best. It's just like lettuce. It is just like lettuce. And in fact, he didn't even know he was eating kale half the time. I told him it was lettuce. He was fine with it. So you really cannot tell a difference. But the red Russian, it turns a deep purple color. The cooler the weather gets, y'all, that stuff will keep on going. It was a champ. I planted all of my fall seedlings and transplants in different areas around our property, just to experiment and see what worked best where. The red Russian was a rock star wherever I planted it. It was a rock star in the frost. It was a rock star in the drought. I mean, it was cold weather, hot weather. Well, now I take that back, warm weather. It got warm around Christmas, but we'll see how the kale does in the summer. I know everyone says that kale's a cool weather vegetable, but we'll see how far we can push it. We're in early March, so I think we're fine. But we'll try to push it as far as we can, because we we have enjoyed the kale tremendously. I love how you snip it off. It's rigid. It grows, you know, that it grows upright. It's just like collards. You go on to the next. Now, some people harvest collards in one big bunch from the root, and I snipped mine leaf by leaf last year, stem by stem. I liked it that way better. Especially, it gave me a little leeway if the frost was coming. I didn't have a one and done picking. I could come back and at least get week by week what I needed. Okay, so that was our plain romaine, oak leaf, red romaine. My poor little kale seedling there. And then I've got my own butter crunch that I just planted, butter crunch seedling and that. So you can see how they just stack up. That oak leaf is pretty big. And that's it, y'all. And you just keep going. Just keep going up. Keep going up with it. And it is, to me, it is beautiful. Like, it really is decorative and edible at the same time. I think it looks great. I really love these. Like I said, the only drawback, I wish I had all of the same color, but I wasn't able to get these. They were in such high demand. And I can see why. We're going to keep going with this one and see what else we can plant in these and see how far we can push these to go, because another great thing is it's vertical. Everything is vertical. You don't have to worry about having width on your patio space. It's height. This is awesome if you have an apartment or limited space. This is the way to go. I would, if you plant these very high, if you don't have room enough to make several lower ones, I would definitely try to anchor it somewhere or another. You might could drill a hole in the side and put a tie down to stabilize these, but I am sold on the little planters. So we'll give you an update of how the finished product looks in our next video and go from there. Happy gardening from Harmon Homestead.